Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw, Editorial Director at TigerFitness.com and Muscle and Brawn Nutrition CEO. Guys, today is Q&A Saturday. I'm sitting out here Saturday morning enjoying one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite cigars. It's called a Punch Punch, and just fired this up. It's actually a quality cigar. I like the taste. It's not super overpowering, and it's got a real quality draw. I could definitely see this being one of my staples. So guys, I want to move on to the questions. I have about 7 questions today. Before I get into these questions, guys, if you have a question, you can head over to the Q&A link below. I take the best questions and turn them into Q&A Saturday like I'm doing today. But with that said, I answer every question posted. So no matter what your question is, head over there, post it up. I'll answer it out and try to help in any way I can. Guys, if I do answer your question in this video and you want a free copy of my book, Massive Iron, you can email me at steve.shaw@tigerfitness.com and I will send that over to you. So the first question is from Adam, A-D-E-M. His last name is A-B-D-I-O-G-L-U, Abdioglu. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with that last name. He says, hey Steve, is it possible to rupture your bicep if you do heavy supinated barbell rows? So the question is it possible to rupture your bicep when you're doing heavy supinated barbell rows? Now for those of you that aren't aware of the differences, a standard barbell row is performed with an overhand grip. A supinated row is performed this manner, so you're pulling like this. Most of you know this exercise as a Yates row because Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates brought this variation into popularity. So there was also an issue with Dorian. I believe at some point in his career he ruptured a bicep or tore a bicep pulling like this. So Adam wants to know if it's possible, if there's a likelihood that he could do the same thing. Excuse me, guys. Now the issue with any pulling exercise, whether it's supinated, whether it's overhand, whether it's pull-ups, whatever, is how you pull. You don't want to concentrate on pulling. You want to concentrate on driving your arms back. That will help you put more emphasis on the major muscle groups of the back and less direct emphasis on the biceps. Most people go into the gym when they're doing rows or pull downs or pull-ups and they concentrate on pulling. And if you think about it, if you just sit like this and you concentrate on pulling, if you compare that to concentrate on driving your elbows back, if you drive your elbows back, you can feel much more power. You're going to be able to move more weight, build more muscle, and you're taking a lot of the stress, direct stress, off of the biceps. So when you do supinated rows or overhand rows or whatever, don't concentrate on pulling. Concentrate on driving your elbows back and finishing off with a good contraction. You'll be able to feel the difference, and you'll make the supinated row and every other row variation a lot more safe. All right, guys, moving on to the next question. Let me get some coffee here. Next question is from Palmer TV. Palmer TV. Palmer says, I believe this one might be a long one. I just watched your powerlifting Q&A on YouTube, so he just watched last Saturday's Q&A. My best lifts are 225 bench for 9 reps, 315 squat for 7, and 405 deadlift for 5. So those are real quality numbers. I consider 2, 3, and 4, 200 bench, 300 squat, 400 deadlift, in that range to be a good first-year goal. He's doing this, Palmer is doing this for reps, so that's what I would consider late beginner, early intermediate strength. So he's got a fair amount of strength. Palmer asks, do you think I'm advanced enough to use a split and progression scheme like the one you described? This was in last week's video, where you hit a lift once a week with a heavy triple and attempt to add weight the next week. Do I feel like he's ready for that? Absolutely. Palmer has established that he's established a track record of building strength. He's at a quality strength level. 315 by 7 on squats is definitely earlier intermediate level. 405 for reps on deadlifts, definitely earlier intermediate level. Those are quality strength levels. So are your bench numbers. You're creeping closer and closer to 300. So yes, Palmer, absolutely. I think you could lead with a heavy triple. Maybe do one heavy back off set, back off the weight by 10%, and then do your accessory or assistant or body part work using the rep goal system as detailed in my book Massive Iron, or any other system where you're pushing for progression. You have some sort of focus on progression. So absolutely, Palmer, you definitely have the strength. I would give it a run. I have a lot of confidence you'll be successful on that type of program. Next question is from Cameron. Cameron's got a simple one. Cameron said, can you turn Jason Blaha's program into a rep goal workout? Again, for those of you unfamiliar with the term rep goal, that is from my book. It's simply a system that helps you focus on maximizing sets. You can check out a link to my book below. Again, it's called Massive Iron. So I get this question a lot. I talk with Jason Blaha a lot. We're friends. We talk about a lot of subjects. And I'm actually going to visit Jason here in 6 to 8 weeks. And Cameron asks, can you turn Jason's program into a rep goal workout? Absolutely. Here's what you do to turn any workout into a rep goal workout. Say you have a 3x5 or 5x5, 3 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 5. You multiply those two numbers together. So in the case of a 5x5, like you have in Jason's workout, you have 5 sets of 5 reps, multiply those numbers and you get 25. I would add 5 reps to that for your rep goal. So instead of doing 5 sets for 5 reps, you'll do 5 sets with a rep goal total of 30 or maybe even 35, depending on your rep preference. The reps are going to vary in the rep goal system because you're pushing each set for as many reps as possible. So the rep goal doesn't matter much. You can adjust it as needed. You can start out with 5 sets with a rep goal of 30. You could start out with 5 sets on what was a 5x5 on Jason's program for a rep goal of 35. You can dial it down to 34. You can dial it down to 33. You can dial it down to 32. It really doesn't matter. It's all personal preference. The main focus of the rep goal system is to keep you maximizing sets and trying to maximize every set and keep you focused on progression. Now, with that said, on 5x5s, on Jason's program, you're not maximizing every set. So I'm not saying it's easier because it's not, but if you take a 5x5 where you're not maximizing every set, and you move it to a program like the rep goal system where you're maximizing all 5 sets, it will feel more intense. For that reason, on 5x5s, you might want to drop it down to a 3-set or 4-set scheme. So you could do a 4x5, take that, 4 sets of 5 reps, that's 20 total reps. You could add 5 and have a rep goal total of 25, 4 sets of 5 plus 5. Or you could do a 3-set by 5 scheme, which is 15 reps, and then add 5 to give you a rep goal total of 20. So that's what I would recommend. I would recommend starting with 3 or 4 sets instead of 5 sets on Jason's 5x5 exercises. Now, for the backup, or the, for the assistance exercises where Jason has like a 3x8, I can't remember his exact rep schemes, or if there are a 3x8 on all the assistance exercises. But you could take, again, 3 sets by 8, multiply them, that's 24, add 5, you have a rep goal of 29. So you could run with like a rep goal of 30, a rep goal of 25 for these 3x8 sets. So it's really as simple as that. You can tweak any program like that to make it a rep goal workout. So Cameron, I hope that helped. I have a long question next from Gaines, Mr. Gaines. So hang with me here, guys. Gaines says, hey Steve, love your rep goal system explanation video. I would highly appreciate if you have a look at this and tell me what you think. It is from bodybuilding.com workout section, and it is a sticky. It uses a rep goal system, but just a bit different than your approach. But every set is maximized. Just like you say, this is exactly how I wish to train. So he's going to quote it. I've not seen this over at bodybuilding.com. I haven't really been over there at 2007, so I'm not sure when this popped up on the forum. Gaines said, here's the quote at bodybuilding.com. I believe that training at a moderate intensity, 75% intensity, with moderate reps is the most efficient way to promote hypertrophy. Your primary goal should be to increase moderate rep strength. I would agree with that. Maximizing sets in the 70 to 80% range of your 70 to 85% of your 1 rep max range is a good way to build muscle. I believe that training to near failure is important for promoting neural strength adaptations. Yes, training to near failure is good in that sense. It's also good for hypertrophy, because the deeper into a set you get, the more muscle fibers you're recruiting. The more muscle fibers you're recruiting, the more potential muscle mass, the more potential stimulation you're going to have. And it's really a win-win. If you stop a set 3-4 reps short of failure, are you really getting a quality stimulation in that muscle group? Not as much if you push that set just one step shy of failure. So anyway, this post at bodybuilding.com goes on. I believe that aiming for a total rep target rather than counting the number of sets you perform is the best way to manage your tonnage. That sounds familiar. I'm not sure where he got this. Maybe he saw something I wrote, because I've been writing about the rep goal system for 5 years and modified it or whatever. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he came up with it himself. I recommend using an 8 to 15 rep range for most exercises, etc., etc. This poster goes on to say, it really doesn't matter how you choose to rest between sets, short rests, long rests, etc., etc. Do as many straight sets as you can until you reach your rep goal. That sounds all very familiar. I'd be curious to see when that was written, because that sounds like it's a direct adaptation of my rep goal system. I've not seen that before. This goes on to say, so basically on a bench press, let's say you start, okay, he's just explaining the rep goal system. Here's the thing. Oh, I would worry about, if you are working between 5 to 12 reps on average for most sets, I wouldn't worry about what the average rep range is. That's going to put you somewhere between 70 to 85% of your 1 rep max. And if you're pushing sets for as many reps as possible in that range, you're going to stimulate a quality amount of muscle mass. Don't obsess about rep averages. Don't obsess about rep ranges. If you want to go a little higher than this in the rep range and have an average of 10 to 12, that's good. Here's what I want, that's okay. But here's what I want to point out. You can't toss out generic rep range pieces of advice. You can't just toss out generic rep ranges. You can't say this rep range is best for hypertrophy for all exercises. It's not true. There's other factors involved. Some exercises are harder to push close to failure. Some exercises are more physically taxing on the muscles. Some are more physically taxing on the joints. Isolation exercises, I found that isolation exercises much easier to work at a higher rep range without punishing the body. Now think about this. If you're doing heavy squats like 315 or 365 or even 400 for reps, the more reps you put on that squat, the more reps you put on a deadlift, a real heavy deadlift, the more reps you put on a real heavy bench press, the greater likelihood that your form is going to deteriorate even a little bit. It's going to get a little sloppy. It's going to put a little extra stress on the lower back on squats and deadlifts, maybe a little extra stress on the shoulders when benching, etc. I do not advocate generally super high reps as the staple for bigger compound movements. Now, I do higher rep sets for these exercises on occasion, but they are not a staple. So I would not do higher rep sets like 10 or above for the big movements as a staple for the big compound movements. So when you see advice like this in this post of generic rep ranges of 8 to 15, I don't like that at all. I like a little bit lower average rep range for compound movements, maybe between 5 to 10. That's usually the sweet spot I work for squats. For bench, deadlifts, I work a little bit lighter rep range, lower rep range. Rows, you know, about that range. Overhead presses, about that range. Isolation type exercises and dumbbell exercises to me are far more forgiving, and I tend to work maybe between 8 to 12, sometimes even up to 15 rep range, especially on isolations. So when it comes to advice like this on rep ranges, most of the information that this poster put at bodybuilding.com is legit. It's quality information, but always be careful with general rep range pieces of advice, or anybody that says every exercise should be worked like this, because remember this, every exercise is different. Every exercise is different physiologically. Every exercise is different in how it feels as you get closer to failure. Some compounds I can get close to failure without issues, some I can't. So just remember that every exercise is different, and you need to adjust rep goal totals or reps for yourself based on how that exercise feels for you. Alright guys, let me just peel off my sticker here. We're getting blown through this cigar like nothing. This is a good cigar. If you like cigars, Arnold's Choice of Punch Punch, I give it a thumbs up. This is a good smoke. Alright guys, hold on one second. Let me get some more coffee. Alright guys, the next question is from Kenneth Ramsey. Kenneth Ramsey says, "Dear Lord Shah of Duloc." Thanks, Kenneth. I think the only thing I'm a lord over is a lord over this big ass cup of coffee. Kenneth Ramsey says, "First off, thank you for the unwavering advice you have given since the low quality PC camera days. Thank you, I appreciate it. I've been doing this for about 3 years. Now, and I've been trying to improve, still working on it. And I hope the camera quality with my iPhone is a lot better than those crappy PC days." Kenneth says, "You have always been consistent, and that is very honorable. My question is in regards to volume while performing full body workouts. I am a 28-year-old beginner and just finished an 8-week, 4-day split about 3 weeks ago." So he was doing a 4-day bro split or bodybuilding split. "For the past 2 weeks, I've been performing a full body workout that I have created. I love how full body makes me feel when I leave the gym, like I actually accomplished something. I also love how natural it seems for me." That's awesome. Some guys have a hard time with full body, some don't. When I made the transition into full body workouts after 20 plus years of bro or bodybuilding splits, it took me like 6 months to get used to them. Kenneth goes on to say, "My goal is hypertrophy, functional strength based. Think Steve Reeves, with rate progression after reaching my rep goal on the last set." Kenneth says, "The question pertains to my amount of volume due to the frequency at which I am performing. I have stuck with 12 sets for major muscle groups and 9 sets for minor. However, I've noticed that this has taken a gradual toll on my body. Not enough recovery between full body workouts, or maybe body part splits. I'm not sure if he's saying that this amount of volume has taken its toll on a full body workout or just body part splits? I'm assuming on a body part split. So let's go with that. Kenneth says, I perform about 6 to 8 exercises on lift days. Would dropping to 9 sets for major muscle groups per week and 6 for minor be effective? Absolutely. That's usually how I structure full body workouts. 9 sets, about 9 sets for major muscle groups, 6 sets for minor muscle groups. The thing to remember here is that it's okay to tweak volume. It's okay to tweak with these numbers. A lot of people think that set volume is the be-all, end-all for gains, but there's different ways to work volume. On a lot of conventional bro splits, you're working the volume, but you're not pushing sets for as many reps as possible. So it can be taxing from a punishment standpoint, but may not feel as intense. I don't like to do more than 9 sets per major muscle group on full body workouts, or 6 for minor on full body workouts. So that's perfectly fine. If you're maximizing these sets, Kenneth, you're going to make tons of gains. You're going to make great strength progress. You're going to build a quality amount of muscle mass. And if you feel at any point you need to add some volume to major muscle groups, you can. I doubt you'll need to. That's probably not going to be the case. So yeah, I'd run with that and let me know how that goes with you. Goes for you. I think that's going to serve you well. Let me get some more coffee here. Black coffee. It's a little chilly out here, guys. Excuse me a minute. Next question is from Dave FK. Dave says, hey Steve, I started lifting about a year ago using a 5-day split. He was using the Power Muscle Burn workout that I created. Since moving on to Tiger Fitness, my name has been taken off of my Power Muscle Burn system. But yes, I am the creator of that system of training. That's actually how I trained during my first maybe 10 years of training. A system similar to the Power Muscle Burn. Dave says, just like to say that I can't thank you more for how much it has really changed my life. My question is regarding deadlifts. And I answered this question for Dave on the Tiger Fitness forum, but I also want to answer it in this video. His question is about deadlifts. Dave says, I do 4 sets and the goal totals are 5. I'm currently at 405-pound deadlifts. I can hit 4 to 5 reps on my first set, but it feels like everything gets drained from me and I can only squeeze out 2 or 1 reps for the following 2 sets. Failure happens halfway on the 4th set, so note that. He's failing on the 4th set. It's bad to fail on deadlifts. Too much breaks down, too much goes wrong. So Dave says, this has been the same for about 3 months now. Do you think if I keep at it, I will still make strength gains, or should I deload, etc., etc.? Look, here's the thing. You got to listen to your body. You got to listen to your body on any exercise. No matter what advice I give you, or what advice any other trainer gives you, it's just a starting point. So, if you're doing a rep goal system type of workout and you're doing 4 to 5 reps on your first set of deadlifts, and your next few sets you feel very weak, you're not able to perform a lot of reps, you need to make a change. What I typically recommend for most lifters is that they do singles at this point on deadlift. At some point, doing multiple heavy sets of deadlifts can be extremely taxing, and quite frankly, it's not really needed. I never do more than 2 top sets on deadlifts ever, and just for perspective, I got my deadlift close to 800 pounds raw at the age of 45. So I don't believe you need a lot of deadlift sets. What I recommend for Dave or intermediate lifters who are having problems doing deadlift sets is that they instead switched to time singles. You can carve out an 8 to 10, even a 12-minute block. Take about 75 to 80% of your 1 rep max and do as many quality singles as you can in that 8, 10, or 12-minute block. Now, when I mean singles, these are rest pause. You perform a deadlift single, stand up, get your hands off the bar, rest only until you feel physically and mentally ready to go again. This could be 5 seconds early on in the set. This could be 30 to 40 seconds later in a set. It doesn't matter what the rest periods are. The important point is that you return and do another deadlift rep when you feel physically and mentally ready for it. Now, you're starting with 75 to 80% of your deadlift max, and you're just doing singles for this 8 to 10 to 12-minute block. So when you get to, if you're doing an 8-minute block, when you get to say 7 or 8 singles, add 5 pounds the next time you deadlift. If you're doing a 10-minute block, when you can do 8, 9, or 10 singles, or about a single per minute, come back the next deadlift workout and add 5 pounds to the bar. If you're doing a 12-minute block and you get 10, 11, or 12 deadlift singles during that time, add 5 pounds to the bar the next time you deadlift. The real important point here, there's 2 important points. Number 1, performing timed singles in a block manner gets you focused on total reps. So it is like the rep goal system. You're focused on going in and improving by at least 1 rep over your previous performance. The second important point here is that by doing singles, you're not allowing yourself to see a form deterioration. You're not doing like 4, 5, 6 reps in a deadlift set and allowing your form to continually deteriorate as fatigue sets in. So each rep has a greater chance of being quality, more quality form. You can get in your setup rhythm. You can attack each rep like it was the first rep of a set. Get in a quality setup and pull. So I believe time singles are a safer method of training, especially for intermediate deadlifters. So that's what I would recommend, Dave. Abandon multiple sets of deadlifts, do time singles at 8, 10, maybe 12, at an 8, 10, or 12-minute block. All right, guys, let me see how many questions I got left here. It's starting to get warm. The sun's coming out, and I am getting beat down. I think I only have one more question left, and this is from Wolfgang DeMello. Wolfgang DeMello. Let's see if we can get that on screen. That's the best I can pronounce it, Wolfgang. Wolfgang sent me an email. It's a longer one. Wolfgang says, "Hi, Steve. I subscribed to your channel a while ago because I find it really useful and down to earth. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Last night I registered at Tiger Fitness because I wanted to ask you a Q&A. Wolfgang says, if you're not too busy, feel free to skip the next paragraph, which is just a little bit of a background. I'm going to read Wolfgang's background. When I was at school, I used to be one of the least sporty kids around, so he wasn't very athletic or wasn't in the sports. Wolfgang says, in my early 20s, I took up jogging and became a reasonably good runner. He could run a 1 kilometer in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. In my mid-30s, I injured my feet, not while running, but while moving a house. I stopped running and for the first time in my life became overweight. Now, I just want to say, Wolfgang, that this also happened to me. I was in the military. I was actually a runner from age 13 to age 27. And after I stopped running, I started to gain weight because I didn't have any other form of cardio to help keep my metabolism rocking. I wasn't burning those extra calories. I became, I was sitting more, etc., etc. So the same thing happened to me. Wolfgang also states, I also developed back problems. I then decided to do some strength training and sort myself out. At the time, I believed that I would not be able to get reasonably strong because of my school experiences. So Wolfgang's thinking because he didn't feel he was athletic, he wouldn't be able to get strong. A little background, Wolfgang, I was weak, and even though I loved sports in high school, I was weak and I was not very athletic. And look where I am at today. So anybody, no matter how weak they feel they are, they can get extremely strong compared to where they are now, and it will change their life and it'll change how they perform in sports. So just keep that in mind. So that's a little rabbit trail. Let me continue here. I stumbled across Scooby Site and then Ice Cream Fitness, and it was through Jason Blaha that I found your site. 2 years ago, I built a swing set for my daughter and put gym rings on it. I started doing Australian push-ups, inverted rows, and after a few months moved on to pull-ups. I did my first pull-up ever at age 37. Awesome. This was at a weight of 87 kilograms. Awesome job. You know, it's always nice to see guys as they age keep fighting, keep moving. Movement is life. When you stop moving, you're going to die. So no matter how old you are, keep up the fight. Now, Wolfgang says, now I do several sets of pull-ups with 25 kilograms strapped to my waist, and I weigh more than 90 kilograms. Some of it is just blubber, I'm afraid. Well, we all have blubber at the age of 30, especially if we have kids. I also started doing squats last summer, and although I had 2 setbacks, I can now squat more than 100 kilograms. I will be doing 3 plates a side before too long. All this has been very motivating, especially after the almost entirely negative experience of exercise at school. Now my question is this: strength has a certain carryover effect to strength stamina. There are plenty of one rep max calculators out there for bench, squat, and the like. But I was wondering if the opposite also exists. Something that lets you see how many unweighted pull-ups you can be expected to do at a certain body weight if you can do a certain number of weighted ones. Is there a formula for this? Honestly, or I'm going to finish off with the question here, or are there factors that make it impossible to calculate this theoretically? Thanks for a fantastic channel. You and Blaha are the ones I watch regularly, and I appreciate it if you have the time to answer. Thank you, Wolfgang. Here's the thing. As far as weighted pull-ups, the heart of the question is if you can do a weighted body weight exercise like pull-ups or dips or something like that, or even weighted push-ups with a vest. Sometimes I do push-ups with my fiance Becky on my back. If you can do a weighted body weight exercise, is there some sort of a reverse calculator that shows you how much you could do without the weight? Not that I've ever seen. Not that I've ever seen. This would require to put data like this together, and hey, I'd love to do something like this. We would need a data pool of maybe 100 athletes that are capable of doing body weight exercises with weight, and then we would have to test them with weight and without weight to see maybe how many reps they could do in a minute with, say, 25 kilograms on their back, and how many reps they could do at body weight. Just for a reason. Back to the question. There's no real way of gauging how many body weight, how many reps you could do on a body weight without weight. So sorry guys, my phone ran out of room. Let's get back to the question. My advice would be to test yourself for both. I'd love to hear how it goes. Do it rest pause style. Say for pull-ups with 25 kilograms or 20 kilograms on your back, see how many rest pause reps you can get, or how many total reps you can get in a minute. Rest as needed, limit rest, and then go over to the body weight side and see what you can do without. I have a feeling if you can do a lot of sets with weight on your back, if it's pull-ups or dips or even push-ups, that you'd be able to do quite a bit without. Now there is some endurance, there is an endurance factor that is kind of an intangible. I know from experience, having been in the military, that doing push-ups all day, every day, builds up some form of muscular endurance. It doesn't really transfer over to strength, but if you go looking at the opposite, if you have a lot of strength using, say, push-ups or pull-ups or dips, you're able to do it with weight. When you move back over to reps, you're going to have a greater endurance. So body weight exercises without weight doesn't really give you much of a strength benefit, but body weight exercises with weight will give you a little bit greater strength endurance, just because you'll be able to knock out far more reps. That's really all I can comment on the subject. That's really all I know. So guys, if your question has been featured in this video and you'd like a free copy of my book Massive Iron, email me at steve.shaw, steve.shaw@tigerfitness.com. I'll send you over a free copy of my book. And if you're watching this video and you have a question that you'd like answered or would like featured in a Q&A Saturday, please head over to the link below. Send me your question, post it up. I answer every question posted. The best ones I turn into a video, like I did today. For those of you who are interested in cigars, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite, and one of his favorites. It's called a Punch Punch. I've been smoking it the whole time during this Q&A, and honestly, it's one of the best cigars I've smoked, so I can see why Arnold likes it. Remember, kids, you don't inhale cigars. You smoke them for taste. A lot of guys panic when they see me smoke. The smoke's not going in my lungs, guys. It's a lot more safe than smoking cigarettes. So guys, if you made it this far on my channel and you yet to subscribe, please do. I would appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.